Hello everyone and welcome to Dead Internet Chronicles, where I observe and react to the internet of old and new, examining what I perceive to be a complex collection of chatbot chaos. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help me grow my channel. Please do be aware that the themes discussed in this video may be dark and unconventional, and my narration is not explicitly an endorsement. That being said, let's get started. And today we're going to be observing a thread on X as usual. Most of my content does come from the paranormal board of 4chan. And this is going to be examining the absolute state of X. And it says, "You know what I miss? This board used to have anons who learned about stuff on their own, who started to believe only because he was truly, genuinely staring something in the face. A 12-foot cryptid, a swarm of sprites, an emanation of light so pure and righteous it made you cry. These were just normal people too. Hikers, backpackers, shipping handlers who worked the graveyard shift. Curious people who looked for an old trinket to collect. Heck, even a do with a mop. There were no preconceived ideas, no assumptions about what the world was about. It was a dull question they never thought about until something amazing forced them to. Now what do we have? People who don't go outside, people who don't have jobs, who read some glorified blog post and think they figured it out. I'll tell you what we have. We have you, the one who is still refusing to take a chance." So that's a nice little monologue there. I don't really know what they're trying to say. I mean, yeah, X has changed over the years. I remember it used to be a lot of just creepy stuff, and now it's just a lot of religious schizo stuff. And it's kind of disappointing the way that it's devolved. I remember back when it used to be a lot of creepy stuff, and there were a lot of creepy pastas. A lot of original content too. There were always threads about like creepy images and stuff like that. But now we've got a bunch of religious stuff, and it's about Christianity and about spirituality, and it just doesn't have the same soul that it used to have. So the first anon says, "Two chicks at the same time." And then this anon says, "Hey yo bump, the good old times. Well, wake up boomer, cause Gen A will take the lead. But on all seriousness, the internet has morphed from a communication network into a media network. Don't want to say anything bad about the younger generations, but being online most of the day takes a toll. The world is magical yet brutal because of human contact. When we stay in our little worlds, they become like echo chambers. Things are sure changing. Thought times ahead." I think they meant tough times ahead, but they misspelled it. I don't know. That is an interesting point about the internet becoming a media network, though, because it seems like it is. I'm one of those people that does turn these communications into media, so maybe I'm the bad guy. I really don't know. I probably am, but it'll be okay. Someone said, "Don't care to make you happy. I'm going to do what I'm doing and what I want, and I dare any of you to try and stop me." And then this anon says, "Anon, you want our attention. I get it. But you can't earn it the same way you used to when you were little. You need to do it the right way from now on. Besides, you'll realize that it's what you've always wanted from the very beginning. We'll be waiting for you." And then this anon said, "Being myself has drawn so much attention to me to the point where I have people reading my mind and constantly monitoring me in real time, either through astral projection or ESP. I don't need your attention or anyone's. I just do me, and that seems to trigger so many. You'll be wasting your time waiting for me. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Someone responded to the OP and they green texted, "Get a job," and said, "No. I literally quit my job to have the time to post here all day." Then they said, "I think this attitude you are describing here is still very valuable. I am a proponent of critical thinking and an open mind, so I very much agree with you on this point." Then they said, "People shall be free to live their life however they want, including being a hikikomori neat, for as long as they do not harm another human being." Then they said, "I agree that this is immature behavior, but I think that's just one of the many detrimental effects of social media." That was about the blog post comment. And they said, "I think a better strategy than venting your frustration here would be to concentrate on making high-quality posts or threads that encourage critical thinking and do your own exploration of the paranormal." And this anon responded and said, "You realize that by shutting yourself in, you're only going to dedicate your life to try and supplement the emotions and experiences that being out in the real world would have given you. Waiting for, say, people like me to post my experiences, for example, it's not a bad thing to want, I guess, but you'll feel enormously better going out and doing it yourself. But that's not what you're willing to do yet. All right. I still see in you someone who wants what's best for people, and I like that. So I'm going to give you a promise. If later down the line someone makes a story about their own real personal experiences, I'll tell you my stories too. But it has to at least be a full post. Touching the word limit, but longer is always better. And I think you're going to like what I have to say. You have my word." This is really cryptic, and it just reads like a bunch of bots talking to each other. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I know that's kind of a meme at this point, but like, I just really feel like this is a bot thread. These don't seem like real interactions. I just don't see it. Like, and they don't feel real. Someone said to OP, they said, "This is kind of what I was posting about the other day. The Anons who got really deep probably left. To be honest, I am a little bit too busy to be digging into paranormal stuff right now. I am in between jobs and my grandmother died recently, and one of the last things she said to me over the phone before passing away was literally, 'Stay away from the occult, you might as well be a Jesus freak at that point.' She literally wanted me to stay away from this stuff for happiness, and that bugs me because I actually do kind of like spooky occult stuff. She may be correct, though. I might have to take a radical shift in perspective and focus on completely different things. A lot of this stuff exists inside a vacuum, and I also notice that it's largely code talk for more conventional things. Analyzing things from the perspective of psychology, it would make a lot of sense for this to be a tribe of people with a cogent understanding of the same symbols. To read self-help books and then apply those psychology concepts here in an effort to liberate the tribe. In this way, we would be a collective of shamans. I personally blame the rise of cell phones. A lot of paranormal stuff relied on the world being largely undiscovered and unfilmed. Now that film equipment exists in the literal pocket of every individual, the existence of things like ghosts and demons become less likely. If paranormal circles are going to thrive, it's going to have to involve more proactive fiction ARG-style involvement." Interesting perspective. I agree about the cell phone comment. Like, it's kind of sad. Like, you would think that there would be a lot more evidence of the paranormal, but there's not. There's really not. And I have a concept that I was working on. I wrote it a few months ago, well, about a year ago, and I didn't really like it. I uploaded it. I didn't really like it, so I'm going to re-upload it, I think, and probably rewrite it, rather. But it was an explanation for why paranormal footage doesn't exist, and it was a really interesting concept. So I think I'm going to rewrite that and maybe post it on here. You know, it was an explanation for why we're not able to see any paranormal footage, like videos or images or anything like that, like Bigfoot or the Flatwoods Monster or Mothman or Slender Man. Like, I don't know. Let's move on. Someone said to this post, they said, I do realize that I already know all the pleasure of the social world has to offer, and that my experience as a hikikomori ni is as valuable and as real as any other experience. So is the experience and emotions that arise out of contemplation in solitude. It's not a bad thing to vent, or no. So not having a job doesn't mean I never go outside to explore abandoned mine shafts to find the Tommyknockers, Desu. I agree that first-hand experience are the most valuable, but I think you underestimate the worth of intellectual contemplations of all kinds. Well, I reject all deals I don't understand the details of, especially if they are camouflaged as promises, I guess. I don't have information on how valuable your word is. Judging from past experience, it's probably worthless. But don't take that judgment personally and understand I'm always working on incomplete information like almost everyone else. There's a lot of reading in this post. Wow. I'm not used to things being this written out on 4chan. It's usually just like a comment here or there. Someone said it's not the occult that's important though. It's that deep, restless feeling that there's some sort of meaning in this world, some kind of answer. The same feeling that you never think about, never notice, and never even realize it exists until one day you see something. But the tragic part of it all is that too many Anons turn into a hippie-ish quest for gremlins. They lose sight of the why of it all, satisfying themselves with the info slop that's so cool, so occult. It's not like that. If anything, these tremendous things happen to those most attuned to living their lives as it should be, simply, uncomplaining, accepting the good and the bad with a soldierly sense of responsibility. I don't know what it'll take for X-Bros to finally get this, but I think the day will come soon. And then someone responded to OP that said, I'm writing something that I think may have both esoteric and academic significance. Everyone thinks they've figured out the secret, including me. What I hope is that I actually have. I can convince academia that what I have is valid, then they will have ripple effects on a great many things. I'm not who you hoped for. I, too, am just an avid reader, but I hope this does do some good. And then another Anon said to them, they said, Anon, you want to do the right thing, at least what you think the right thing is, and that's good. But let me give you a warning. You've seen these other posts like this, and they link to this post. Where well-intentioned but stupid Anons accept whatever someone with a keyboard gave them. People are desperate. They're willing to do anything for the real truth. Think about that for a second. If you're wrong or vague about even the slightest thing or skew the truth in any kind of way, you risk ruining the lives of people who are, let's face it, looking up to you. Do you really think you should do that? This Anon says, I was a regular university student, admittedly quite into psychedelics, when someone swept me away, became my guru, and took me to my first UFO contact event. Honestly, it was life-changing, and now I don't have a job because everything is provided for through karma, yoga, and deep practice. Sorry if I'm not enough for a regular Joe for you, bro. But I love investigating the unknown with all my heart, and if you don't think it's a sincere and awestruck wish to be enrobed by the divine, then please go ahead and share your light and love with me until I understand the truth you think is unavailable to me just because I pursue this stuff full time. That was a load of words right there. Big sentences. Someone said, my plan is ultimately very simple. I'm going to write like the obnoxious autist I am. Zero masking. This means that nobody is going to bother with the raw output except academics, who themselves will only do so begrudgingly. And they will be the ones to see the actual content, and therefore they will be the ones who decide how it disseminates to the public or not. This removes any kind of assumed authority from my words as an individual. People will see an inappropriate joke or an inscrutable reference and simply dismiss it. And that, I think, is the way that the truth can get out there without me having to worry about anyone taking any individual thing I say seriously. So on that note, I'm going to end this video. We only made it about halfway through, but that's about all I can take of this conversation. These people are definitely getting some finger exercise today. I don't know what's going on, but they are writing full-blown novels, and I was not expecting that. But yeah, this is just a look into the absolute state of X. It's not very paranormal anymore. It's just religious mumbo-jumbo, it seems. Which is kind of disappointing. I miss the old ghost stories and the cryptids and the, modern creepypastas and things of that nature. But maybe one day it'll come back. I don't know. I don't think it will, but maybe it will. So with that being said, I'm curious, do you use X? What are your thoughts on the state of X? Let me know down in the comments below what you think about X these days, and we will see you in the next video. But as always, I appreciate your viewership. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.